Good morning. We're back at it. Let's see. Good morning. We are back getting the day started with some coffee and chat and continuing to work on learning Go in order to use it in Advent Code. Alright, and we pin that message. Let's answer some YouTube comments really quick. Oh, wow. Hey, Renelle. Renee. Maybe it's Renee. Is your name Renee Nell? Or is it Renee Nell? I'm not sure. I'm just going to call you Renee. How about that? What's up? Good to see you. Hey, what's up? I love lamp. Sorry, I was answering some YouTube comments really quick. What's up, Arvin? How are you? Renee, yeah. Okay, Renee, cool. AZ, anything almost 5K? Yes, almost. We'll see if this week is the week where it happens. Although I still reserve the right uh, I still reserve the right to believe that this is nothing but like a long practical joke that somebody's playing on me, spinning up bot accounts and having them subscribe to my channel. And then in like a year, they're going to have them all unsubscribe. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who has subbed to my channel. It's very kind of you. Shall I make a coffee or not? I was cosplaying being on rehab for my health's sake. No, dude, you should make a coffee. What are you talking about? That's not even a question. To drink coffee or not to drink coffee is not the question. I love lamp. Anyways, what's this say? Hold on. I made a bunch of shorts recently. I just realized. Nice, cool. Anyways, how are you, Steven? I'm good. Yeah, man, no complaints. For the fun of it, I might do it. Yeah, I've always wondered if someone out there is running a con on me. But maybe, just maybe, it'll be real. I mean, it could be. It could be real. I try not to look at the numbers on my channel too much. You know, I try to just keep making content because I enjoy making the content. You know, when I have an idea for something, I try to just execute on that idea and get it out of my brain so that I can move on to the next thing, you know? Except for the alerts. Sorry, I just got one more question to answer here and then we'll get started. All right. We're all square on the comments. And now we're going to dive into becoming a Go developer. All right, where were we? We were learning Go with Tess. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Also, last night, Discord was... Hey, Ricardo, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate it. Was hosting an event on the Discord devs server, and it was about webhooks. There was an employee during the thing that was distracted by dogs, and he kept getting distracted. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Where were we? I think we were at the point where we were getting ready to talk about integers, if I remember right. Integers, yes. Hello world. So let's make a new one here that's called make dir integers. What's up, Mohammed? How are you? Good to see you, man. You're working? Nice. Yeah. That's what I'll be doing later today. There's never a shortage of work in this world, that's for sure. And do you guys know what the reward for doing good work is? It's more work. Money? I wish. I wish it was more money. I mean, I'm sure you guys have had that experience, right? You're at a job, you're killing it. You think, this is it, man. This is the year I get promoted. This is the year they give me that big old fat raise. And what really happens is they just ask you to take on more responsibility. And it's actually, I mean, it's nice that people look at you as somebody who can handle more work, but the fact of the matter is it's actually kind of rare to work with people who actually do good work and get stuff done. So when people find people like that, they tend to want to hold on to them, and then they tend to only want to work with those people, which means that you end up getting all the tasks. Arvin, the reward for good work is money. if you can drive a hard bargain. Yep, this is true. My experience has always been, at least in my career, my biggest pay raises have always come from moving jobs, like literally changing employers, or being willing to change employers, which is unfortunate. They shouldn't require that. You would think if people value your work or value you as an employee that they would just willingly give you more money, but it's not really how business works. It's not really how capitalism works, right? People are always going to pay you whatever the market will bear. And so if they can get a hold of you as an employee and pay you less than what they'd have to pay for somebody from the open market, they will, unless you force the issue. Unfortunately, like you sort of have to go prove that you're actually worth more than what they're paying you. And I don't hold it against business owners. Like that's business. It's unfortunate that that's, as an employee, that's sort of the environment you have to operate in. All right, here we go. Integers would work as you would expect. Let's write an add function to try things out. Create a test file called adder_test.go and write this code. Note, Go source files can only have one package per directory. Make sure that your files are organized into their own packages. Yep, I did this already. Look at me, I'm already ahead of the game. Although I didn't do it this way. Did I? I think I put the Go mod file in the... Yeah, I put the Go mod file in the integer folder, or in the hello world folder. Should I not have done that? Anyway, I'm gonna do it that way. Anyways, adder tests. I'm a BIM coordinator, Arvin. It's 11 a.m., so we start working at 9. What's BIM? Senior management has never understood dev production before. Yeah, and Renee, honestly, I say this goes beyond just technology and development. Like when I worked in food science, the business didn't understand the technical aspects of developing and scaling food products in large manufacturing settings. I think that's pretty universal. Arvin, by the way, I think you should be proud of your job, Steven. I don't know the pay, but the fact you are micromanaged is a big deal in my opinion. Companies that don't micromanage are unicorns. The pay, in my opinion, never justifies. Oh, for sure. I'm incredibly lucky. I remind myself of that every day, that like the employment situation I have now is probably temporary, you know, as are all things in life. Like eventually things come to an end, and if I'm going to work for another 20 years, the likelihood that I'm going to be at the same place, whether by choice or not choice, is probably not super high. And so every day I'm like, man, I'm so grateful for the job that I have now, and the people I work with, and the boss I have, and the autonomy. Yeah, I'm super grateful. After coming from a job that wasn't like that, and I didn't enjoy the work the way I enjoy the work now, I never take it for granted, ever. Arvin, the mental strain, yeah, 100%. The mental strain of being micromanaged is awful. What's up, Raphael? Good to see you, man. BIM is Building Information Management. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'd never heard that acronym before, but very cool. Excuse me. Alright, we need to write a function that basically is testing when you add two numbers together, you get two numbers out, right? Okay, package, main, import testing. We're gonna have to shut Copilot up. Yeah, package main, import testing. And then we're gonna say func, how they name their stuff, func test adder. It's gonna take me a minute before I can memorize all this stuff. Adder tests or tests? Test adder. Oh my goodness. But it takes a T, which a T is a pointer, T dot testing, right? Was it testing B or testing T? Yeah, testing T. And then we sum results equals add 2 plus 2, expected equals 4. We'll say if result does not equal expected, then we will do something. T.errf, and then we'll use %d. T.errf, and we'll say got, but wanted. And we'll pass in result and expected. %d. %d. Now, obviously, this is not going to work because there's no add function, right? This does not exist yet. You'll notice that when you're using %d as our format strings rather than %q, that's because we want it to print an integer rather than a string. I gotta blow my nose real quick, sorry. Sorry guys, one sec. Also note that we are no longer using the main package. Instead, we've defined a package named integers. As the name suggests, this will group functions for working with integers, such as add. Oh, I did not see that. Okay. Write the test first. Yep, we did that. Try and run the test. Run the go test. Inside the compilation area, undefined add. Write the minimal amount of code for the test to run. Check the failing test output. Okay. We can do this. Si se puede. Which I think is Spanish for yes, I can. I think it is. I think I did need to do go mod init, right? Yeah. Go test. Easy enough. Now we will implement our function. So we'll add a adder. Go. And then we're going to, do we need to import anything? I don't think so. Func add what do you want to call this? Like operand 1 string, operand 2 string. What do you call the numbers in a mathematical function? I think you call them operands. What do you call the numbers in a mathematical function? You call them arguments? Huh. Interesting. What did they call it in their code? They just called it X and Y. That's probably a little bit a little bit better. Okay. So let's go and run our tests. We're trying to practice like good test. He's trying to get us to practice good good test-driven development is what he's trying to do. So even though this seems a little pedantic, that he's trying to build the habit in us of doing things this way. Oh, these shouldn't be strings, these should be ints. Okay, and then his point is we should write the minimal amount of code, so this would be the minimal amount of code to get the test to pass. Okay, great, but then if we went back to our test function and we added another test, which I think he did at one point here. For now, let it fix it. Oh, okay, he just goes ahead and implements it as it should have been. Return operand 1 plus operand 2, and we get to move on with our life. Look at us. We're being a Go developer. There's not a lot in the actual code we can really improve on here. We explored earlier how by naming the return argument, it appears in the documentation, but also in most developers' text editors. This is great because it aids the usability of code you are writing. It is preferable that a user can understand the usage of your code by just looking at the type, signature, and documentation. You can add documentation to functions with comments, and these will appear in GoDocs, just like when you look at the standard libraries documentation. Well, that's kind of cool. So you don't need any special, you don't have to do anything special. You just say adds to numbers together. And then I'm assuming that shows up in my test function then. Like if I hover this. Why is this still complaining? Go, let's see, LSP restart, go PLS. I don't know why I've been fighting my language server so much. Yeah, there it is. That's cool. Yeah, super nice. I'm guessing there's more to it than that, but let's see, if you really wanted to go the extra mile, you can make testable examples. You will find many examples in the standard library documentation. What are these? Examples are tests. Examples are compiled as part of a package's test suite. As with the typical tests, examples are functions that reside in a package's test.go files. Unlike normal test functions, though, example functions take no arguments and begin with the word example instead of test. The reverse package is part of the Go example repository. Here's an example that demonstrates its string function. Ah, okay. That's cool. And it even shows the output. And so you can even like run it. That's very cool. So if you give an output comment, then the example function is compiled but not executed. Or it is compiled and executed, but if you remove the comment, then it's compiled but not executed. That's very cool. Since methods cannot be declared inside a function body, the example must include some context in addition to the example function. To achieve this, we can use a whole file example. A whole file example is a file that ends in test.go and contains exactly one example function. Oh, I see. So as long as it has one func, then you can add additional context from the outside world. Hey, that's cool. Well, I'm glad to know about that, because there are times when you're writing code where you'd really like to be able to show people in code how to do stuff. Like, I mean, you can do that in C#, you can do that with JS doc comments, right, in TypeScript, but it's nice that they kind of have a built-in way. It's even cooler that they have a built-in way to actually allow people to interact with your example in documentation. That's even cooler. How can I get the pricing for software engineers for local companies? Any person I have met didn't state their salary. How can I get market sentiment? How can I evaluate if my pricing floor isn't laughably high or low? That's a good question. Well, here in the States, we have something called Glassdoor that I've used quite a bit just to get like a rough ballpark. I mean, I know it's any source that you rely on is sort of suspect a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's something you guys would have where you are, Arvin. The best thing would be is if you could actually get people who you talk to give you like ballpark ranges, right? Maybe next time you speak to somebody there, maybe instead of inquiring specifically at what their salary is, maybe you could just ask them a more general question of like, what would you expect somebody to be earning for this type of role, right? And so you can sort of almost like conduct your own little survey where you're asking multiple people the same question of like, for this type of role, what would you expect the range to be, right? And then sort of crowdsource a response. That could be one way. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any tricks to it, right? It's really looking at job postings, right? So if you can find job postings for that particular role and they have their range on there, you could use that. You could ask people, network, and find other people who work in your industry and ask them, which it sounds like you did, but haven't had much luck with that. And then maybe if there's some sort of website that crowdsources that information, like a Glassdoor. But those are the only real options I can think of, you know. It's great once you can establish kind of a network of people. Like I was just talking to a friend the other day I used to work with. He's getting ready to move companies, and we were talking very concretely about like what his new offer was, what he currently was sitting at the other company, given his title. And I have multiple friends, multiple colleagues, you know, former colleagues or current colleagues who are willing to be open and transparent about that stuff, which helps a lot. I totally understand your reason for wanting to try to get that information, because it helps you avoid putting your foot in your mouth, right? Walking in somewhere and asking for way more than what they want to pay. I personally think it should be if you're interviewing someplace or you're talking to some company and they won't give you a range, like they won't even like give you an estimate of what they want to pay. I think that's shady. That's just asinine. Companies do not hire for legitimate companies do not hire for positions when they haven't budgeted for the position. So there's a number, and if they're not willing to tell you that range or that number, there's something weird going on, in my opinion. That would be a red flag for me. Hey, what's up, Inspire? Good to see you. How's the morning for me? The morning's going well. Yeah, we just got started. I'm almost to the end of my first cup of coffee here. It's a Grinch mug, so we're slowly getting in the. Our Christmas tree is already up in our house, so we're in full holiday mode over here. I'm just gonna bring in that tissue in here. Excuse me. Arvin, thank you for your helpful answer. Of course, yeah, I wish I had like a better resource to give you, but before I had really a network of friends or other professionals I would talk to about this, I would just use Glassdoor and job postings. Now I feel like I have a pretty good network of people that if I have a question, they're willing to be honest with me. I mean, it does require you to be honest and transparent with them, right? There's some reciprocity. There's some reciprocalness to that, but let's go. Been a crazy hectic week. Hopefully it's been easier for you. Yeah, man, my weeks are pretty chill for the most part. Like work. Usually it's work, the kids, hanging out with the kids, hanging out with my wife. I'll do some content. I'll do some videos, some streaming. I'll usually write some code. It's my weeks for the most part. I'm lucky, cross fingers, knock on wood, things stay pretty chill around these parts. I made a little puzzle that'll continue soon. Can I share the big base 64 text here? I wouldn't share it in chat. That people might just find that annoying. Inspire with AOC, someone told me it's 12 this year. Pretty sad. Yeah, he put a note on there about that. And I personally I love Lamp on the Discord server then. Oh yeah, you can post it there. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't put it behind a link though. I just put the actual text file. I don't typically click on people's links. Because I try to practice good operational security. Yeah, so Eric, the guy who creates this every year, which first of all, I mean, let's give it up for Eric. I mean, he puts all this time and effort into this project every year, and I'm sure he's got a day job. I saw him speak, or I saw a YouTube video of him speaking at a conference talking about this, and there's a lot of work that goes into this behind the scenes. But he explained a little bit about why it's only 12 problems this year, and I honestly think, personally, I think that is more doable or more manageable for the vast majority of people who want to participate in this, because most of us who are participating in Advent of Code, we have jobs, we have families, we have other things, and so the 24 problems was kind of overwhelming. Like you would spend quite a bit of time solving part 1 only to be smacked in the face with part 2 on the same day. And so it was very easy to fall behind, and then when you fall behind, it's very easy to get discouraged. So I think this will make more sense where you can basically do part 1 the first day, then part 2 the second day, right? You don't need to get both parts done within the same day. So I kind of like the format. The other thing they're doing this year is they're also not doing a global leaderboard. So there will only be private leaderboards this year, which I think is a good decision. Um, I think sometimes the global leaderboards were, again, discouraging to other people. I know they were probably motivating to people who like compete in this type of code event as a way of life. But yeah, I think the changes are positive. I mean, granted, I know it's less problems to solve, but I think it'll be more manageable for the vast majority of us. Mohammed, what's your career goal currently if your boss is not watching? Well, I don't think she's watching. Yeah. I don't think anybody knows that I really do this YouTube thing. So, uh my boss is awesome. I have one of the best bosses I've ever had in my career. As far as career goals, I think right now my main focus, very selfishly, my main focus from a career perspective is I just want to keep having a job that pays me enough money that I can save enough money that I can retire before I turn 65. I mean, I don't think I have any very specific career goals other than do work that pays me well. You know, like I've told you guys this before, but like I'm gonna keep coding regardless of what I do professionally. Like I just enjoy doing this. So that's kind of like my main career goal. I think I'm not 100% convinced that I'd like to work like to be a manager. I kind of like the idea of being an individual contributor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like David Fowler on the .NET team. Like I would like to just be kind of a high level IC, right? Somebody who works on solving big nasty problems, but doesn't really work on necessarily managing big groups of people. But at the moment, I'm happy where I'm at. I just want to keep improving my skills as an engineer, keep earning money, socking it away into index funds. Here in Iran, employed, not contract, SWE salary ranges between $80 all the way up to, excuse me, wow, that was a big burp, $1,600. For a mid-level role, it ranges between 100. The way some people talk, I think the upper bar is even higher. Think of like a 15x discrepancy. Well, that's nice that you have some rough numbers then to go on, Arvin. You're not flying completely blind, so that's good. Inspire, fair. Holidays get hectic with family. For someone who mostly spends it alone, I find 24 as a nice thing to do every day. That's fair. That's fair, Inspire. Totally get that, man. Last year was CPP. This year, maybe we do brainfuck. Yeah, I didn't even know the brainfuck language existed until like 6 months ago. Someone on stream mentioned it. There's also a programming language out there called Rockstar, which is kind of an interesting looking programming language. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could do it in this. I don't know. I wanted to pick a language that would be like useful beyond just admin of code. Kyle, what's up, man? I'm doing well. Yeah, good to see you. Another issue with the leaderboard was the people using LLMs and leaving little to no point of it anymore. Yeah, that's not fair. I mean, it's fair. It's fair. People can use what they want to solve it, right? Some people use Excel to solve some of these problems, but yeah, it kind of takes the sport out of it, right? I have noticed that if would-be employer don't set the pricing floor, they will be bargained at minimum 80% of the time, but I still cannot know if a company could possibly hire me or I am missing big time. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, that Arvin, in any negotiation, that's part of the risk, right? Part of the risk is either tipping your hand too early or making an offer that basically pushes the other party away. I personally feel like that's why you have to be aware of how much leverage you have in the situation. Like if you really really need a gig, then you don't have a ton of leverage, right? And you sort of have to play it safe, play it close to the vest. Better to get in the door and get the job than to miss out, right? So you kind of have to remember what context you're in and err on the side of the context. Now, if you already have a job and you're just trying to look to increase your pay, well, then you can be pretty aggressive, right? Because you can basically go into companies and be like, this is what I do, this is what I do, and this is what I can do for you. But here's the dollar figure I need, right? Because I'm already working, I'm already getting paid, I'm already getting benefits. If you guys want to pull me away from this other place, here's what I need, right? You can be much more aggressive with your stipulations. The recommendation to ask peers about what is the bulk market pricing sentiment on my role is. I think you were going to say something at the end there, but hopefully you found that helpful. I did day 4 last year in BF. It took 6 hours, but it was really fun. Nice. Also, there's a streamer who did all days in BF last year. Wow, that's incredible. I haven't gotten through every day in Advent of Code ever. Last year I made it to day 17, I think, or like part 1 of day 16 or something like that. And my goal each year is just to make it like one part past where I had failed to make it past last year. That's always my goal. Okay, here we go. Wrapping up, what we have covered: more practice of the TDD workflow, integers, addition, writing better documentation, examples. Okay, great. Now we're going to talk about iteration. I meant to say thanks for TGE recommendation. Oh, of course, yeah. I'm happy to always answer your guys' question. I'm an open book. Again, like there is nothing special about me over here. Like I'm just a guy in his basement in Kansas, you know, making stuff on the internet. But I'm just a normal human being trying to navigate all this career stuff just like you guys. You know, I've got a family and kids, and I'm just trying to, you know, work and build a career that I can be proud of, but provides for the life that me and my family want. And so I'm happy to always answer questions and share the way I'm thinking about it, the way I'm approaching it. There's no secret to it though. From my experience, it's just a lot of talking, a lot of relationship building, a lot of showing up and doing the best you can and making sure people know about your work. Obviously, if somebody has a secret sauce out there that they could share with me, I would love to hear it. But at this point, I don't have a course to sell you. You know, increase your salary by 500% in 30 days with these 5 top tricks. You know, no, I don't have anything like that. If I did, I'd be doing it myself. Hopefully it's not a lot of depth first search and breadth first search. It was a lot of that last year. A lot of walking grids. I just ended up with a helpful function that was like walk grid. Yeah, there was a lot, and that was actually that's one of the things I want to do in November is I want to implement depth first search and breadth first search in Go to make sure I kind of understand how I would go about doing that. But yeah, there was a lot of that last year. I got an exam tomorrow again, might pop off soon. Yeah, no worries, man. You got a life. You gotta live your life. But I appreciate you hanging out. If I want to create a website to offer some services, what things should I keep in mind, or any cool tips? If you create a website to offer services, just when you're building the website, try to make sure you keep make sure you're deep in your empathy skills and that you have your client hat on, right? Like Mohammed, it sounds like you know your clientele fairly well. So just make sure as you're building the site that you're thinking about like, what are the questions that my clients would have about the service, right? Or what do they want to see from the service? and make sure that's there on the website, right? You want to be making sure that whatever you're putting on the website is speaking to them and answering the questions they have or the anxieties they have. And maybe you can even have some conversations with some clients that you already have to like understand what are they looking for, how do they evaluate their decision to purchase the services you're offering. But I find a lot of times, sometimes websites, a lot of business websites, they're too much written from like the business perspective, and they're designed from like the business's perspective instead of being designed from like the people who would actually get value from what the business does. I'd also have a section on there about you. I think people like to connect with other human beings. So one of the things I do all the time with almost any business I interact with is I always click on the about page, because I want to know like who's behind the business. What's the story? How did this come to be? What is the person behind the business's story? I think people far more connect with humans than they do with like brands or businesses. So if you're willing to put yourself out there, I would encourage that. I would much rather buy from the guy, you know, if I'm going out to eat, right? I'd much rather buy from the restaurant that's run by a local family whose dad started the business and passed it down for, the last two generations or one generation, um, than like the nameless, faceless corporate entity. I buy from both, but if I can buy from the one on the left, I'd much rather buy from the other guy. Renee, $1,000 per day for 1 hour's work biannually. Is that an offer that you received, or is that an offer you're making? Make dir. What do we want to make dir? We want to make dir iteration. And then go mod init. I feel like I should just open the parent directory. If you do freelance gig, make sure customers get what they want. Talk to them, get a sense of what they want, give them that. I just feel like you should try to have empathy for your clients, right? Try to make sure that, like I gave this example the other day, like if you're getting married and you're looking for a photographer for your wedding, you don't want to see action photography on your wedding photographer's website, right? You want to see wedding photography on your wedding photography's website. Like that's a very simple example, but that's the best way I can think to communicate the idea that I'm thinking about. Oh, Mohammed, you're so kind. Yes, if you like the stream, you'll have bug-free code. It's true. It's true. It's statistically and scientifically been proven that those who like stream, right, 500% less bugs in their code. Actually, they don't even put bugs in their code anymore. I don't know. It's something about liking the stream. Renee, I've heard this story so many times before when I know the hard truths about freelancing. Gotta feel for peeps when they fall for it. You mean like freelancing is difficult to get work? Yeah. I don't doubt that. I haven't done any freelancing in tech, but obviously I did have a personal training business, and which was basically free. I mean, it was basically freelancing when you work for other gyms. You basically just you get clients and then you pay a gym a vig per session, right? Like most gyms will take somewhere between like 10 and 30% of your session fee. to cut, you know, essentially that basically you're like renting a chair, like a hairstylist, right, in a salon. And it's hard. It's very hard. Building that clientele is difficult in any service-based business like that. It takes a lot of effort to get clients. A lot of efforts. And I'm not sure there's anything you can do to make it easier, you know? Copilot's trying to steal my reps. Not today, Copilot. Not today. Let's see. Test. Repeat. And then we want to say expected. Let's say that equals this 4 A's. And then we'll say result is going to be equal to repeat. And that's going to give a letter and the number of times we want it to repeat. And we'll say if result does not equal expected, then we will say t.errf. And again, we'll say got %d, but wanted another one, which is %d, %d, and we'll pass in the results and the expected. I gotta figure out what this error message means down here. It says position encoding param is required in vim.lsp.util. I gotta figure out what this is. The message is required indicates that a recent change in NeoVim's LSP implementation now requires explicitly providing the offset encoding. Why am I just now seeing that though? Silence the specific position encoding message. Well, that's how do you deal with the message? Silence it. How do you fix the error message? You silence it. I don't, but is it good? So get offset encoding. And then what did he do? What does he do with it? Huh. I'm gonna have to dig into this. I don't want to get distracted by it, but I'm gonna have to dig into that at some point. The LSP change probably came in an update. Yeah, you're probably right. And I probably didn't do a good job of reading the breaking changes when I like updated my package or something. I should really read more instead of YOLOing everything. Go test. Okay, repeat's not defined, which is what we'd expect. So we'll go in here and we'll add a repeat.go. excuse me, and then we'll say package iteration. We'll say func repeat. Repeat will take a string. String to repeat. And it'll also take integer number of times. And then it will return a string. Like this. And for now, we'll just return, I guess, an empty string to start with. So now it should compile, but it should fail. Error F format %d has arg result of wrong type string. Oh, is that's because I'm not printing. Yeah. This should be like Q, I think, right? Like this. There we go. So how do we make it repeat, right? So I think what we want to do, now I'm not even following documentation. Okay, so write the minimal amount of code. So how's he gonna do this? Write enough code to make it pass. So he's just gonna loop over it, reassign a string. He's gonna add a character each time. Unlike other languages like C or Java or JavaScript, there are no parens surrounding the three components. He's talking about the short declaration. Now it's time to refactor and introduce another construct, the plus. Oh, yep. Okay. What do they call this? The assignment operator? Or an addition assignment? I don't know what they call this. Okay, let's before we go to benchmarks, let's fix this. So what we'll do is we'll say var let's just call it results, right? And let's set that to an empty string. Set that to result. And now we'll loop. So we'll say for I equals 0 and I is less than number of times and I plus plus, then we will say result is equal, or is added to and equal to string to repeat, like that. This is complaining. Why is this complaining? For loop can be modernized using a range over int. Okay, lovely. Fix it. Ooh, look at that. Now that's nice, huh? I much prefer that than writing a for loop with specific indexes. That's awesome. Thank you, Go PLS. All right, so now let's run our tests. See what happens. Hey Pablo, how are you? Did I get more of the stream? Yeah, for sure. Addition assignment usually. Yeah, addition assignment. Yep. Yeah. No, you're here super early, man. We still have like another hour and 45 minutes or so. So yeah, thanks for dropping in. Cool, it passed. We're doing something right. All right, benchmarks. Writing benchmarks in Go is another first-class feature of the language, and it is very similar to writing tests. That's wonderful, because benchmarks in .NET is a whole separate thing. Like, you got to bring in a whole separate package, you got to hold a whole separate project for it. So this is cool that it's... The testing.b gives you access to the loop function. Loop returns true as long as the benchmark should continue running. When the benchmark code is executed, it measures how long it takes after loop returns false. b.in contains the total number of iterations that ran. The number of times the code is run shouldn't matter to you. The framework will determine what is a good value for that to let you have some decent results. Interesting. By default, benchmarks are run sequentially. Only the body of the loop is timed. It automatically excludes setup and cleanup code from benchmark timing. A benchmark is structured like this. So you have your setup code. Man, it's true what people have told me. Like Go, there's like definitely a focused in Go about simplicity. Like, let's not make this overly complicated to accomplish this, right? It's just it's very straightforward. So setup, cleanup, and then all your measured code goes inside your loop here. Strings in Go are immutable, meaning every concatenation, such as in our repeat function, involves copying memory to accommodate the new string. This is the same thing in C#. This impacts performance, particularly during heavy string concatenation. The standard library provides the strings.builder. C# has this idea too. We called a string builder, which minimizes memory copying. It implements a writeString method, which we can use to concatenate strings. That's cool. Okay, cool. This is good to know. We can use benchmark repeat to confirm that string.builder significantly improves performance. Oh, okay, cool. So let's go up here and let's add a benchmark. Copy. Excuse me. We need to add this. And then how do we run the benchmark? Let's ask Copilot. Let's see if Copilot knows how to run the benchmark. Copilot suggest T. Oh, actually, I think this is Copilot-P now. How do I run my Go benchmark? See if Copilot knows. Dinesh, how can I get I'll check your Go project to understand how to run benchmark. Looky there. Go test bench. Okay, cool. I think that's exactly what he told me in his documentation too. Yeah, go test dash bench. Although here he says if I'm in PowerShell, I have to wrap the period in quotes. Is that not going to work? Let's try. Nice. 12. I think this is kind of looks funny. 50.98 nanoseconds per operation. Cool. Now what we can do is we can change. We're going to change our implementation essentially. So we'll do that. Who asked that? Dinesh? Dinesh, sorry. It's Oh My Posh. Yeah. So what Pablo said, but if you want my specific PowerShell profile, then you can use, let me get that for you real quick. Actually, I think I have that set up in Streamlabs. I think if you type exclamation PWSH, I'm pretty sure StreamElements will give you the link to my PowerShell profile. Yeah. So that's that tiny URL you see there. That links to a gist that has my PowerShell profile in it. And then I think Oh My Posh, I think will give you my, yeah. So that the PowerShell profile is the first link in chat there, and then the Oh My Posh profile or configuration, the thing that does this, that's the second link. If you're curious. And my NeoVim configuration is here. So yeah, so exclamation point PWSH gives you my PowerShell profile. Exclamation point Oh My Posh gives you my Oh My Posh configuration. And then I guess maybe it's exclamation point NeoVim. Should give you my NeoVim configs if you're interested in those. Not that any of it is groundbreaking or earth-shattering. I stole most of it. uh, the NeoVim, the C# NeoVim stuff is pretty much my work, but a lot of the base configuration in my NeoVim configuration comes from Typecraft, who's another YouTuber on YouTube. He has a course on NeoVim called NeoVim for Noobs. That's really good if you're interested. And then for my PowerShell profile, a lot of my PowerShell profile comes from a gentleman named Scott Hanselman, and he has a whole YouTube video where he works through setting up a PowerShell profile from scratch, which is pretty cool. If you just search Scott Hanselman terminal, it'll come up for you on YouTube. What's up, Artwork Studios? Good to see you, man. How you doing? Doing well? Dinesh, it looks clean, and I was wondering how I could replicate it, so thanks. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, take it, steal it, man. Make it your own, adjust it, repeat it. There's some stuff in my PowerShell profile that's kind of specific to me, like stupid, weird, small alias commands that I've added because I think they're helpful, like catting a file and copying it at the same time, and copying a path to a file, like stuff like that. But yeah, feel free to take it and make it your own. I loved today was online class. It ended early. Oh, that's cool. You have online classes? That's awesome. I've been trying to convince my kids to do homeschool for like the last 2 years. He knew his humor. Oh, that's good. I love when teachers are engaging and entertaining. Like teachers who can both balance instruction with also like engagement. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. That's one of the reasons I really love the guy that teaches all the CS50 courses, David Malin, because I feel like he does a really good job of striking that balance of being, he gives you, he's teaching you, but he's keeping you engaged, right? You don't, when you're watching one of his lectures, you don't necessarily want to pick up your phone and start scrolling, right? Morning, Chappie. Morning, 199. Good to see you. Pablo, I also had classes, but it was an exam. Took 3 minutes. Pablo, I must have forgotten. Are you in school? I thought you were already working. Or are you working and going to school? That's intense, man. Also, you're way ahead of the game. Yeah, I'm doing both. Okay, yeah, man, you're way ahead of the game. That's awesome, dude. All right, strings builder, write string, call string. Okay. String dot. Oh, let me import string. Is it string or strings? I think it's strings. Dot builder. That. Why is this complaining? It's not an expression. So how would I create a new one of these? Like, could I just do a string builder dot write string or something? I'll just do it the way he did it. Var result strings dot builder, and then result dot write string, and then result dot string. That. So I guess the first thing we should do is run our test, make sure we didn't break anything, and then go benchmark. Yeah, it's like half the speed, right? I think we were at like 50 something nanoseconds per op, and we only have one allocation, right? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think benchmarking is underrated. I don't think people do enough benchmarking. Steven, read my chat earlier. Oh, sorry, Arvin, I missed it. I'm scrolling. Actually, benchmarking that string builder thing, Java has a similar one as well, but it is slower than plain well jitted string concat on a warm VM. Oh, interesting. That's surprising. Yeah, the string builder is what they always tell you to do in C sharp if you're doing anything that's in a very tight loop or you're doing a lot of manipulation of a string, you should use a string builder just to avoid all the allocations. Um, but interesting to know that it's faster in Java not to use it. Online classes is now the most important exam. Is going on for the grade 11 students, and we are understaffed at school. Has the most students. Oh, is that why? That's why you're doing online? Is because of understaffing? Pablo got to get that degree. Yeah. Online classes are for adults. Kids need to meet other people and learn discipline through being present. That's fair. That's fair. I selfishly just want my kids to do homeschooling so that I can, so that we can live in other places and we can travel more without having to worry about school, the school calendar. Which is selfish of me. I know. As a parent, I should be focused on just whatever's best for their education. What language would you recommend to someone who still has college to go? I know Python and MySQL. It sounds like you've got some good languages under your belt, Dinesh. I think if you already know Python, you already know SQL. You're there. I think from there, it's more about what do you want to do, right? Because at this point, you understand sort of the basics of programming, and you already have a couple languages under your belt. So if you want to pick up additional ones, it shouldn't be too much of a lift. I think the question is more about not what people would recommend, but what it is you want to do, what areas you want to work in. Yeah, Pablo already Pablo literally said exactly what I said. That's hilarious. Benchmarking is underrated. Casey Muratori will be proud. Dude, Casey, God, that guy he's smart. Like I was listening to him talk to the guy that built HTMX, Carson Gross, I think is his name. He's a professor at Montana, one of the Montana universities in Montana here in the United States. Him and Casey were talking about some small computer that they built at Carson's University for teaching purposes. And just listening to those guys talk, I was like, okay, maybe maybe I'm not a developer. Well, at least it's very clear that both of them have studied computer science, and I haven't. So I was just like, oh my gosh, these guys know their shit. Yeah, but I think people just don't the reason why I think benchmark is underrated is because I think a lot of times we're making decisions about what we should or shouldn't do based on no data at all, right? Like, is what we did faster? Is what we did better or worse? And we don't collect data, right? You probably should be, this would be like going back to my scientist days. Like, if I wanted to make a change to the production line in one of our processes or in one of our formulations, like I had to run a lot of tests and collect a lot of data and be able to make a really good case for why we should change something. And I don't see that happening in the software world very much, you know? So I think they're underrated. Pablo, just make them super smart so they can go less years. That would be one solution to my problem, wouldn't it? You have a short on this, Stephen Wright, recent one on how to choose new projects. Yes, I did. I think I posted that yesterday. Kind of talking about like what you want to work on is pretty contextual to like why you're doing it, right? Are you doing it because you're trying to like get a job, or are you doing it because you just really love like building stuff and doing projects? Because like if you're trying to get a project because of a job, well then you probably should be very intentional about the thing you do and make sure that it's compelling to the people you want to work for, right? Or helps you gain skills that would be compelling to the people you want to work for. But if it's just because you want to like do something with your time and you enjoy writing code, well then you can, like Pablo said, you can pick whatever you desire, right? You can learn whatever language, you know, build whatever tool or app, you know. Exhibit A, the AI bubble and the money. Bullshit on bullshit. But I mean, AI's tough, right? Because I think a lot of people, I think I come across to a lot of people like I don't like AI or that I hate AI or something, but I don't. Like I've been heavily involved with our AI implementation at work. I think I'm just trying to offer a more middle of the road take on AI. I think AI is definitely especially like these large language models. They are very cool pieces of technology, right? Um, so I think so. Some of the value in the LLMs is really there. I'm less skeptical about the value of LLMs. I'm more skeptical about the demand, right? I'm more skeptical that there may not be as many people out there in the world itching to implement AI as people think there are. And I don't think there's probably as many people getting as much value from AI, from implementing it in their business, as what people are saying. Granted, I'm just a random guy in his basement in Kansas, so like what do I know? But that's my feeling at the moment. For me, I ask non-coders for ideas, but usually their idea is something stupid, like make a fully open world, which is 100% handcrafted, and make it use C++, Python, and Scratch with MySQL for multiplayer. Hold on. You ask non-coders for ideas and they start referencing MySQL? That sounds odd. I generally figure out what I want to do, then look what the ideal language would be. That's a smart approach. Try to fit the tool to the job, right? Yeah. Instead of the job to the tool, that's probably the smart way to do it. don't don't try to use Go to build a front end. Yeah, probably the smart approach. I love AI for some things, but for things like AI toilets, AI brooms, AI rice cookers, yeah, we are begging for an uprising. Well, yeah, I think I got into an argument with somebody about this the other day, about just the fact that we shouldn't be worried about AI taking jobs, and because my thought was I don't think AI is going to replace what a lot of software engineers do. I think it's going to make software engineers more productive and more capable. But my alternative thought is that if AI does replace your job, the software engineers that I know are some of the smartest people I've ever interacted with. So my thought is, well, they can just go get other jobs, right? This person didn't seem to believe that. But I mean, to your point, Artwork Studios, think of all the things in our world that are made, built, engineered, shipped, created. Somebody's doing that work. It's not AI doing that work, right? AI is not manufacturing toilet paper, right? So I don't know. I guess I'm just, the world is bigger than what the tech bros want you to think, right? It's just such a myopic view of the world, right? It's like there's only this world of technology and software development, and that's like I have my blinders on to everything else. AI is too far away from being a solution right now. It's a tool. Yeah, that's how I feel, but there's a lot of people out there who are super super panicked about it and super worried about it. And they're very dug in. And I'm not sure, yeah, I'm not sure how to encourage them otherwise, unfortunately. Why are companies hiring so much if AI is replacing? Exactly, exactly. Why? Yes, if AI is really replacing everyone, why are they hiring? That's 100% right. All right, practice exercise. Change the test so a caller can specify how many times the character is repeated, then fix the code. I already did that in my initial implementation. Write example repeat to document your function. I'm okay. I'm going to skip that one. Have a look through the strings package. Find functions you think could be useful and experiment with them by writing tests like we have here. Investing time learning the standard library will really pay off over time. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just gonna speed run this, so we're not gonna take the suggested detours. All right, we're gonna go to arrays and slices next. How? Yeah, see, there's a lot here. I'm gonna try to speed run this a little bit. Yeah, hey guys, I have a good idea. Make toilet paper roulette. Some parts regular 2-ply, some 1-ply. That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds like a really shitty toilet paper brand. uh, you are right about AI. I entered a competition about innovation, and the winner won because the title of his topic is AI. Yeah, I mean, I don't. But the thing is, at the same time, I don't fault people who are in marketing or in business for tagging AI onto everything, right? Because that's the game. That's the game. Like the market, the investors, right? They're saying we want to see AI, right? And so you kind of just, as a business person, you just kind of have to react. Um, doesn't mean I'm not going to stand on the sidelines and laugh about it, though, or I'm not going to stand on the sidelines and laugh about it. Do read the string library at some point, though. Oh, because he said, yeah, it would be good to know. Yes, totally agree. I think it would be good for me to look at a lot of the standard library because I don't think I've written enough Go to know what things are available to me out of the box, which I feel like is going to come through actually sitting down and really building projects or solving some problems. So that's part of the reason why I want to try to speed run these docs and get to actually doing, some tangible coding. I think the biggest innovation is making fridges with glass at the front. Yeah, but then you have to clean the glass, and then if you have kids, they might break the glass. I don't know. I'm leery of glass. uh, Potato Goal. What a username. Hey there. This is completely unrelated, but does anyone know why does Selenium work fine until I load a profile? It just opens and does nothing. Well, Potato Goal, the problem is you're using Selenium. You should be using Playwright. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I wish I could be more helpful. I abandoned Selenium many years ago at this point now, and I avoid it like the plague. So, but I understand a lot of people are still stuck in legacy code bases working with Selenium. So, but I don't have any idea. I wish I could help you. The stuff you are going to use 100% arrays, slices, ranges, Go routines, strings, math. Okay, that's good to know. I should do an equivalent of Hello World using Spring AI and call myself professional string developer with extensive knowledge in AI development. Yeah, man. I mean, you can use whatever language you want on your resume. There's no resume police. Potato Goat. Can I load a profile in Playwright? Never used it. I don't know what a profile is. That's the thing. I don't know what is a profile in Selenium. Is that like a project? Um, Selenium profile. In Selenium, a profile refers to a specific configuration of a web browser that can be launched and controlled by Selenium WebDriver. Yes, you can do this in Playwright. This is called a project. And your projects in Playwright can have whatever browser configurations you want. Um, yeah, you can for sure do that. A Chrome profile? Oh, that I don't know about. A Chrome profile, huh? Yeah, I mean, you can definitely save browser state, right? So you can like you can open a browser, log into whatever, and then persist the browser state. But I don't know. I've literally never done that. Loading a Chrome profile into the browser as part. I mean, I'm assuming, is this for like web scraping? What is this for? This isn't for automated testing, is it? I've never done that. Let's just Google. Let's see if Google knows. Chrome profile, like how to load Chrome profile in Playwright. LinkedIn people are proficient in literally any tech. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just a lot of bullshitters out in the world, right? There's a lot of people who believe in fake it till you make it. To load a Chrome profile in Playwright, use the launch persistent context method. This method allows you to launch a browser context with persistent storage linked to a specific user profile. I don't know if that's helpful. I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Let's see if this even exists, because sometimes sometimes AI hallucinates. Playwright.dev. Are we on the right docs? You always got to make sure you're on the right docs. There's more than one Playwright API. Oh yeah, it's a real thing. Launches browser that uses persistent storage located at user data dir and returns the only context. Yeah, I don't know if this would get you to where you want. I don't know. You'd probably have to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole to figure it out. I've never done that. Chrome profiles are not there on Chromium, but you can run Playwright against your browser. Yeah, you can use Playwright against your browser, and there is a Chrome channel. Like you can run vendor specific versions of the browser, right? So you can run Edge. You know, you can run Chromium, or you can run Edge, or you can run Chrome. You can specify that channel as part of your configuration. What is Selenium though? Seleniums are really it's been around for a long time. It's like a way to automate, or it's basically a way to like programmatically control a web browser through something called WebDriver. But yeah, it's a browser automation tool, and it's been around for a long time, so it's super pervasive across, I think, a lot of people's code bases in the industry at large. But it's kind of painful to write automated tests with when you compare it to something like Playwright, because it doesn't handle like, you have to manually wait for elements, and you have to manually pause for things to happen, and it requires you to do a lot of like explicit time-based waits, which makes your tests brittle, in my opinion. They're not as, in my opinion, they're not as robust and not as easy to write. So to me, if you're gonna start doing browser automation in 2025, unless you absolutely have to, I would reach for Playwright.dev and not Selenium. I assume good idea switching to Playwright. I think so. I'm a shill for Playwright. Like I looked at Cypress, Selenium, and Playwright when I was setting up and kind of architecting our browser automation at work. And so I did POCs with all three of those technologies. And Playwright was relatively new. I think it was like release 1.9 or 10 or something. I don't know. It was very early. But I just felt like, man, this is like, there's a ton of functionality that comes out of the box with the TypeScript test runner, and the locator approach that they have for finding elements is top notch. They do all types of like auto retrying. Yeah, just I don't know. I just think it's hard. It's hard for me to explain without good concrete examples. Just trust me. Just trust me. Should I use it? I would use Playwright if you're gonna artwork studios. If you're considering browser automation, I would consider Playwright over Selenium. People used it to bot websites. Yeah, I mean that's what people use. A lot of browser automation is used for not doing automated testing. It's used for scraping websites and doing things on websites programmatically that you can't do because they don't provide API access. Like I think I told you guys this, but that company Plaid, they're a big company now, but back in the day when Plaid was just getting started, there was a lot of banks that didn't have programmable access to their data over APIs. I mean, Plaid has worked with a lot of banks and financial institutions to actually get that access. But for a while, that's how Plaid was like getting your bank information. It was just it was just automated. It was just basically running a browser, logging in with your credentials and scraping the data, which is kind of wild. But yeah, people use it for all kinds of stuff like that. What is Terraform? Do you use it? If you use, what is the use case? I don't use Terraform. Pablo might know more about it just based on what he does for work. But I don't use Terraform, and the company I work for doesn't use Terraform. It's basically an infrastructure as code language. But the benefit of it is that it's not provider specific. So you can use Terraform to spin up resources in GCP, in AWS, in Azure, right? So you could basically have like Terraform code that like provisions a server, sets up the network, installs stuff on the machine, like all that kind of stuff, to basically go from no environment to an environment programmatically. And then you could check that code into source control and whatnot. But like Pablo said, you'll know when you need it. This is 100% the truth. I've never worked someplace where it was needed or used. But I think if you want to do like DevOpsy stuff at bigger companies, it probably is something that would be worthwhile to know about. Terraform itself is not provider specific, but the configuration can be. Well, there you go. I think that's probably a good point of clarification from Pablo. Arvin, ever since homies and me have blessed the chat, Steven's productivity is like decreased. Yeah, but don't worry about that. That's not, I want to interact with you guys. That's half the fun of streaming. So you guys don't even worry about that. Artwork Studios. What is browser automation? So how do I? It's basically like you write code that opens. Rajiv, thanks for subscribing, man. I appreciate it. So Artwork Studios browser automation is basically your code drives a web browser, right? So your code, you write something in like a index.js file that will open a web browser on your machine, headless or not headless. So you can either actually see the window or you cannot see the window. And that code will actually go to those web pages. It will click on the buttons. It will enter text into forms. It will use the browser as if it was a human being using the browser, essentially. That's what browser automation is. Steven prefers not to code. More material for shorts too. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Much easier to create shorts content when there's a lot of talking. All right, let's write some code. Why don't we? Excuse me. Let's see. We do what do we call this one? Arrays and slices. And then we'll do I don't know, array and slices dot go, array and slices dot or test dot go. There is no sum function. Also, I don't know why he writes all his tests that way. I prefer to have the expected value precede the result value. Actually, can I do a rename here? Yes, I can. Expected and results. And obviously sum doesn't exist yet. Arrays have a fixed capacity which you define when you declare the variable. We can initialize array in two ways. We can say numbers is equal to an array of size 5 of type integers, and then actually explicitly give all of those integers. Or we can say open bracket, square bracket, dot, dot, dot. So this just means basically this array is going to be initialized to how many ever variables are in it. I mean, values are in it. It is sometimes useful to also print the inputs to the function in the error message. Here we are using the %v placeholder to print the default format, which works well for arrays. Oh, this. He's talking about this. Alright, let's try to run our tests. It's gonna fail. cd array and slices, go mod init. Oh, go mod init. Array and slices. Arrays and slices. Go mod tidy. Go test. Boom. Expected package found end of line. Ah, that's because there's nothing in that file. Delete it for now. That's fine. Go test. Cool. And now we will add it back. Array and slices dot go. No way, I was seeing Node.js docs the whole time. Are you talking about in playwright.dev? Or Selenium? Oh, maybe you're talking about Selenium. And that's why you couldn't get it to work. I have a discussion today on my next job. Gonna be, oh, that's great, man. I'm excited for you. That's always exciting when you get to talk about like what's to come. Will the guide tell you about Testify or similar later? I honestly don't know. I actually don't know what's all in here. Maybe there's some testing fundamentals that are in here. Oh, working without mocks. Whoops. I actually don't know. But if it doesn't, I'll remember those. What did you call them? Testify? Testify. Yeah, I'll have to remember that one. Working without mocks. This chapter delves into the world of test doubles and explores how they influence the testing and development process. We'll uncover the limitation of traditional mocks, stubs, spies, and introduce a more efficient and adaptable approach using fakes and contracts. Oh yeah, they do have a topic on mocking, but I'm not sure if they specifically introduced that package. So I'll have to see. Definitely something we should know though, right? How do I close the... There we go. I write the minimal amount of code for the test to run and check the failing test. Okay. It's weird. It's like the GoSP isn't picking up the fact that sum is there. Go test. Okay, got 0, want 15. Okay. See, it's still. I wonder if this is some issue with my NeoVim config. See, it's still saying sum is undefined. I think there's multiple. Yeah, I think we're back to the issue where we have multiple LSPs attached. We have 3 different LSPs attached. We have Go PLS 2, Go PLS 3, and then Go PLS 4. I'm not sure why there are duplicates attaching every time. There's a problem. I have a problem. LSP restart Go PLS. Your test should now fail with a clear error message, which it does. Write enough code to make it pass. This guy really likes his normal for loops, but couldn't you just range over this, right? Oh, there he is. he did it. This is what I would do, right? So if we go back over here, we're gonna go sum is equal to 0. Return the sum. And we'll do for index num in range of numbers. We are going to add and reassign the current number to the sum, like that. Looky there. Look at us. We're writing Go. No mention of testify. Okay, I'll look it up for sure. Testify. Actually, let me look it up and add it to my bookmarks now, so I don't forget. Testify Go. Oh, I can star it. Even better. Let's see, arrays and their type. An interesting property of arrays is that the size is encoded in its type. If you try to pass an array of size 4 of type int into a function that expects an array of size 5 of type int, it won't compile. They are different types, so it's just the same as trying to pass a string into a function that wants an int. You may be thinking it's quite cumbersome that arrays have a fixed length, and most of the time you probably won't be using them. Yeah, this was the first reaction I had to arrays in Go, right? Remember, I was on the Tour of Go website being like, okay, but how do we deal with a dynamically sized collection of things? Because real code that you write doesn't. You don't deal with fixed. You don't know the size of things oftentimes ahead of time, right? Like you're usually loading. You're loading collections of objects from a file or a database or a HTTP call, like. So fixed size arrays are not particularly helpful, in my opinion, most of the time. The next requirement will be to sum collections of varying sizes. Write the first test. We will now use the slice type, which allows us to have collections of any size. The syntax is very similar to arrays. You just omit the size. Wonderful. Okay, let's just copy this. So we're going to add to our test project, or test file. So we're going to come in here and paste this in. We'll just delete this existing function up here. Come down here and we'll say, because I'm picky, expected results. And then down here we'll say, this, whoops, move this up. Expected result. Alright, this is already complaining though, right? Because cannot use numbers, variable type in argument to sum. It's basically saying I can't use a slice where you've given me an array. So if we do that, it's going to complain. So now we have to fix that. Break the existing API by changing the argument to sum to be a slice rather than an array. When we do this, we will potentially ruin someone's day because our other tests will no longer compile. Create a new function. In our case, no one else is using our function, so rather than having two functions to maintain, let's just have one. So can you have functions that are the same name? Can you basically overload functions? That's what I'm basically asking in Go. Is that possible? Like if I was to come in here and say, let's try it. So if I was to come in here and I was to do this, overload exists. Okay, so yeah, so if I do this, this will work, or will it complain? Oh, you lied. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say is like, can I name things? Because you know in C# you can do this, and then the compiler just differentiates based on the signature. So you'd have to have something like sum array or some, you know, you'd have to have like sum array and then sum slice is what he was saying one option was, where we could have two different functions. But I agree that's kind of annoying to have to maintain two different functions. You can't. Okay, good to know. No worries. Yeah, no worries at all, man. I personally like that feature. I wish that feature existed in TypeScript. You know, you could sort of kind of get it to do that with using types and inheritance and unions. You can sort of kind of do that. Not really. You still just have one implementation at the end of the day, but you can take in different types as arguments and return out different types based on, you know, like you can sort of kind of do this in TypeScript, but not really. You can't really overload the same way. Comes in handy a lot in C#. Okay, so we changed the signature to just accept slices. So how do we make it so that it's okay? So if we come back here, if you try to, refactors. We already refactored some. All we did was replace arrays with slices, so no extra changes are required. What do you mean no extra? Oh, so he just changed it to pass in a slice and not an array. Okay. Go test. Also, your sum array is for arrays of size 5, which is kind of dumb, right? we're not really summing arrays. We can only sum arrays if they got 5 things in them. 4 things? No. 5 things? Yes. Although I'm pretty sure I've made API requests against APIs that were that dumb. I don't know. Some people just don't think about their user when they're building stuff. They're like, this makes sense to me, you know. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. If you were here yesterday, I mentioned on stream that my dog was like squinting his eye yesterday, and we thought we might have to take him to the vet. He woke up though yesterday morning and he was fine. He didn't squint all day, so we're just gonna keep an eye on it and see if it comes back. I don't know if maybe he got something in his eye and finally got it out, but he's okay. I told you guys I would update you. I know y'all were just waited with bated breath, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. We can further. So all we did was replace. Okay, remember that we must not neglect our test code in the refactoring stage. We can further improve our sum tests. Okay, how did he improve it? I don't understand. This looks exactly like what we have already. It's important to question the value of your tests. It should not be a goal to have as many tests as possible, but rather to have as much confidence as possible in your code base. Having too many tests can turn into a real problem, and it just adds more overhead and maintenance. Every test has a cost. Although I'm so biased, I don't give a shit. I will pay the price for testing every fucking time. I don't care. I'm price insensitive when it comes to testing. In our case, you can see that having 2 tests for this function is redundant. If it works for a slice of one size, it's very likely it'll work for a slice of any size. Go's built-in testing toolkit features a coverage tool. Wonderful! Built-in code coverage, let's go! While striving, they got built-in, not only does Go have built-in benchmarking, but it has built-in coverage. That's awesome. Very cool. While striving for 100% coverage should not be your end goal, the coverage tool can help identify areas of your code not covered by tests. If you have been strict with TDD, it's quite likely you'll have close to 100% coverage anyway. Well, I love that because I love code coverage tools. I use them in C# all the time when I'm writing code because code coverage a lot of times helps me catch edge cases that I missed, right? So things that I thought were covered, the code coverage tool tells me, hey, you didn't actually check this branch of logic, which I really, really like. Even better if they're visual. Bex, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. Good to have you here. Try running go test -- cover. Okay. So he's probably gonna have me run this and then see what the coverage is and then remove it. Yeah, so we have 100%. And so then that means if we remove one of our tests, we probably still have 100%. Now delete one of the tests and check the coverage again. Let's remove this one. Yep, still 100. Now that we are happy we have a well-tested function, you should commit your great work before taking on the next challenge. Alright, fair enough. We need a new function called SumAll, which will take a varying number of slices, returning a new slice containing the totals for each slice passed in. For example, da 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 da, da 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 would return da da da. Okay, so SumAll would return 3. Yes, write the first test. Okay, we're gonna test SumAll. Is it? Hey, Pablo, are you still here? If you're still here, Pablo, can I ask you something? Whenever you're building a package in Go, or anybody can answer this. It doesn't have to be Pablo. I just know Pablo writes Go sometimes. That's why I asked him explicitly. Whenever you're building, can I add this back? I put a tab back in there. There you go. Whenever you're building a package in Go, right? So let's say if I go, this is my production code. If I have multiple functions in here, like if I add that function SumAll, would you just add your tests in the same file? Like, would you test all of these in one file? Would all those tests live in one file? Or would you have a test for each individual function? Kind of curious how people do it. I'm sure I could ask Gemini, but it also would be nice to talk to other human beings. Probably, yeah, that's common. Oh, okay, very cool. Yeah, I'm curious what all the conventions are around like organizing projects and like architecture. I'm sure at some point somebody's gonna try to cover that for me in something, but I'm kind of interested to see what the Go community's take is. Either is fine. Okay, good deal. Good to know. No one has any strong feelings. Depends on the complexity, right? Yeah, yeah, totally, 100%. Yeah, yeah. Raphael, I come to you again from an airport about to fly back to the Netherlands. Man, you fly a lot, Raphael. I've taken like one flight a year for like the last 5 years. You've flown more in the last 3 months than I've flown in like the last 2 or 3 years. So either that means I fly way too little, or that means you fly a lot. One or the other could be true. Got to go back. What do you have to go back and forth for? Work? See Artwork Studios. Steven, I made my coffee in your honor. Going to begin a hopefully 8-hour long book reading session. Pray for me. Dude, that sounds like fun. Sometimes it's nice to sit down and cozy up, and yeah, I get it, man. My wife loves to read, man. She reads so much. She probably reads 8 hours a day, probably. She likes to listen and read, right? So she usually have like the audiobook, and then she'll also like be reading the book. That's her neuroatypicalness showing, but she loves to read. I like to read too. I'm currently trying to make my way through through a fiction book right now called Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It's pretty good. I don't read a lot of fiction. I read a ton of nonfiction. I go there to vacation and now I go back home. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd love to visit the Netherlands, man. I'd love to. There was a foreign exchange student in college who I hung out with quite a bit early on in college who was from the Netherlands. Seems like a cool place. Arvin, LOL, women multitasking. Well, I mean, men can multitask too, But I think she finds that she understands, or her attention is kept better when she has both the audio component and the visual component, which, hey, do what works for you. There was some controversy around that book from Rothfuss, too similar to another book. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, I had somebody heard that I like to read Brandon Sanderson, and so they were like, "Hey, you should read Patrick Rothfuss because I think you'd like his stuff." So this is the first book of his I've read. Mohammed, I am based in the Netherlands. You are welcome if you visit it. Oh, nice. Well, that's very kind, Mohammed. Yeah, I didn't know there was multiple people from the Netherlands here. Yeah. So I tell my wife there's kind of like two places that I feel like maybe I should live there. And one place is the Pacific Northwest, right? So like Seattle, or Portland, like the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And then I always tell her like the Norwegian companies, or not companies, countries always seem like my kind of people. Like they just seem very grounded, very calm, very common. Like I don't know. I'm sure that's not everybody, but that's the general vibe I get from that area of the world. We all speak English quite well, so doing the exchange thing is not very uncommon. Oh, nice, very cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry that Americans don't learn other languages. I'm sorry that you guys all have to learn English. It's kind of unfair. Like everybody else in the world is expected to know their language, their native tongue plus English, and Americans are like, yeah, not us. Nice. Well, I appreciate you guys offering to host me. I'd love to visit. I honestly prefer English. Nice. Why English though? I feel like English is kind of a weird language. Like English is all about the exceptions to the rules. Arvin, since you said it, sometimes when I program, I play higher level math tutorial videos for background sound. Something about the cozy LQ voice saying all that axiom, formal system, therefore. Yeah, that would just make me feel stupid. Dutch is weirder? Okay, cool. Well, maybe that's why Dutch people and English people, will get along because we have weird languages. Yeah, but that's cool, Arvin. That's cool that you've got background sound that helps you. I completely forgot where I was. Oh, I'm implementing a sum all. That's what I'm doing. Of course, sum all doesn't have the right signature yet. He really likes saying this. Write the minimal amount of code for the test to run and check the failing test out. But he is really driving home the TDD thing. Really driving home. We need to define, although it is called learn go with tests, right? So I shouldn't really be surprised. We define sum all according to what our test wants. Go can let you write, what is this word? How do you say this word? Variadatic? English.
Variadic.
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 Variadic. The second time I clicked it, I feel like Google Translate like slowed down like I was an idiot.
Variadic. Variadic.
Oh, it did. See what? The first time it's fast.
Variadic. Variadic.
Variadic. Okay, so what does that mean? Enzo Wang, what's the current .NET market like? It's hard for me to say. The last job hunt I did in the summer was focused on TypeScript roles, and that market seemed okay. I had several or many interviews and a couple offers over the course of like 3 months of hunting, which seemed reasonable. Obviously, I already have a job, so there wasn't like the timeline wasn't something I was super aware of, like how many weeks or months was I looking before I got offers. The .NET market, I'm not sure. To me, excuse me. To me, the .NET market is very geographic. Like here in Kansas City, it's a fairly popular language, but it's mostly being written by larger companies. So I don't think, Enzo, I'm probably the best one to speak on like the state of the marketplace, just because I haven't looked for a .NET job in a while. But yeah, I would think you'd want to do like some job posting searches in the area you live, and probably for larger organizations. We are Steven's background sound, except there's no background and we don't improve his concentration. Yeah, but you guys make the stream fun. What a surprise. Me on the train, Steven live again. Well, that means we're being consistent with our routines, you know? Did you stop looking for a new job or no? I did stop, yeah. So I ended up actually, I should probably make a video about it because it would probably be helpful, like a helpful story time for other people who find themselves in that position. Um, I ended up staying put where I'm at. So I ended up looking, got a couple offers, had a conversation with my current employer, and ended up staying put. That's the first time in my career that's ever played out that way. Like I said, I've always gotten the biggest pay raises by actually moving employers, like leaving one job for another. But this time around, I really like the company I work for. I really like the people I work with. I really didn't want to leave. It was more of I started looking for a new job purely just really just out of curiosity. Like I just kind of wanted to see what was out there. What was the market for someone with my kind of background and experience and skill set. And then I happened to find myself in a position with an offer that was kind of like, from a financial perspective, it would have been irresponsible to turn it down. And that's basically kind of what I told my current situation. And lucky enough, we were kind of able to come to you know, a counter that made sense for everybody. So it worked out. It worked out. It won't always work out like that, right? Like that's not always going to be the case. So you have to know that going in. There are not a lot of media people surrounding C Sharp. There really aren't. I mean, Tim Corey is one of them. Nick Chopsis is great. YouTube content. There's a couple guys on Twitter that post a lot of content. There's a guy named Milan. I can't ever pronounce his last name because, again, I'm American. I suck at language. But his name's Milan. There's actually some. I mean, there's some good creators. There's not as many creators as there are in like like in the TypeScript space or like the Python space, right? There's not as many people creating content around C# as there are in those ecosystems or those communities. But his name is Milan. I want to say it's like Jovic, maybe. I don't actually know how to say the last name. Let's see if his content's really good. He's got really, really good content. Him, Nick Chopsis, Tim Corey, and there's a couple guys on YouTube that I see post stuff, and I can't remember what their names are though. Google Translate. Whoops. Croatian.
Jovanovic.
Jovanovic.
The English version sounds so like it doesn't sound.
Jovanovic.
Jovanovic is how I guess English people would say it.
Jovanovic.
Milan Jovanovic.
Jovanovic.
Yeah, he's got good content. But yeah, there aren't a lot of people doing it. Tim Corey. Raphael said Steven's better. I am not better than Tim Corey. I actually saw Tim Corey at KCDC this year and the year before. And last year, when I saw him, I actually went up and was like, "Hey, appreciate all the content you make. I owe you a coffee or owe you a beer. He's made a lot of content that has been very valuable to my learning. And he's made it for free, which is crazy. There's so many people in the tech ecosystem that are actually really genuinely helpful. You have a lot of talent, so if they can pay it, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I think as an employee, there's this constant tension between finding a place you want to be, but also making sure that you're getting the value you deserve, And you can't feel bad about that, but there is a tension to it, for sure. My new job is like 3-4x what I make today. It would be so. Yeah, exactly. There's just times in life where even if the company you work for is great to you, treats you well, and you really like being there and you like the people, but there's just some offers that, like, how do you go back to your wife or like your partner or your kids, and say I gave up a significant increase in pay just because I'm comfortable where I'm at, right? To me that borders on irresponsibility, Enzo Wang, any advice on learning C# and eventually TypeScript? So my advice on C# would be if you go to Free Code Camp, they have a foundational C# certification. That's probably where I would start because that will give you like a good helpful beginning with like the basics of the language, right? Which I think is always the first step. Like, how do you write this language? So yeah, if you go to this link, here, I'll post this in chat for you. If you go to this link, this will give you a good foundation for C#. And then I would probably go check out some of the projects on Tim Corey's YouTube. He has some really good like starter projects, like where you work through building a REST API or you work through building a CLI tool. Those would be probably fun to do. TypeScript, I'm not sure who I would send you to learn TypeScript. I feel like the first thing with TypeScript is to learn JavaScript. And then once you learn JavaScript, TypeScript becomes it becomes easy to pick up. Excuse me. It becomes easy to pick up, especially if you know C#, because the idea of statically typed or static types is really transferable, in my opinion, between C# and TypeScript in a lot of ways. The syntax is a little different, but the idea in general is there. Tim Corey makes very educational content, whereas your content is more enjoyable. If that makes... Oh no, I totally understand what you're, Raphael. I think Tim Corey is definitely trying more to position himself as like a teacher or like an author, or an authority figure, you know. And I that's not just my intention. Like, I just want to make content about the stuff I'm learning and the stuff that I'm figuring out. And if other people kind of enjoy that, that's great. And if other people find that entertaining, but I'm not really looking to kind of be like a professor, you know? Yeah, Linux is fun and nice, but I'm not very... Yeah, I feel you on that, Raphael. That's how I am. I'm not going to try to shove my tools and my opinions down other people's throats. I'll definitely share them, but I don't want to make other people feel less than just because they have a different taste or different opinion than me. I'm with you on that. I'm a Linux poser. I just Ubuntu my way out of Linux. I'm in Pablo's camp then too, because the only Linux distribution I've ever used has been Ubuntu. I guess I did use Kali Linux when I was doing some of the Hack the Box challenges, but not very much, you know. See you, Arvin. Have a good day, man. Raphael, oh yeah, I'll show off how fast I am in NeoVim any day. But if others want to use VS Code, Writer, VS, that's fine with me. Yep. You guys know my opinion on that. I think you should use the tools that you enjoy. You know, I mean, unless your boss comes to you and is like, "Hey, no more VS Code for you. Only Cursor from now on." Right? We must see a 10x improvement in productivity. Like, if that's your situation, you really don't have a choice. But if you have a choice, you should use the tools that you enjoy. Enzo, random question. Why are you learning Go? So there's this thing that happens every year in December called Advent of Code. And it basically is like a LeetCode Christmas-themed problem each day. And the last 2 years I've done it. Let's see, I did it in 2023, I did it in 2024, and I made it, I think in 2023, I made it to the 15th, part 1 on the 15th day. And then 2024, I made it to part 1 on the 17th day. And so this year, in both these years, I did it in C#, which is kind of one of my stronger languages. And so I wanted to try it in a different language this year. Is the main reason I'm learning Go. Why we picked Go is kind of like, it goes back to like when I was first starting to stream and TypeScript had announced they were rewriting the compiler in Go. And so I was like, oh, well, if Anders Hejlsberg thinks that Go is a good language, maybe I should learn it. And then there was a couple chatters in my chat that were picking up Go for the first time and thought I might like it. So we just, you know, arbitrarily we're like, okay, Go, let's learn Go and do it in Go. So that's where we are. You know, no good intellectual, well thought out reason. I want to use NeoVim one day, but I feel I'd get distracted learning Vim than actually language at the moment. I totally understand your reservation, 199. I don't think I probably, if I was still focused on kind of learning the basics of programming, I don't know if I would take the dive into Vim myself. I think for me it worked out good that I put it off for a while. So, but yeah, whenever you feel like you're at a place where you can dedicate, 2 or 3 weeks to giving it a try, I think you should. I think you'd enjoy it. Pablo, yeah, that can happen, but you could also choose to leave your job. Yep, you're right. You could definitely do that. Enzo, any opinion on Coding Jesus? Oh yeah, this is Coding Jesus the guy who does like the mock interviews? Coding Jesus. I'm pretty sure I've seen this guy's clips and shorts before. Yeah, getcracked.io. Yes. Yep. I've seen this guy before. I have to be honest, I'm not obviously you can see I'm not subscribed to his channel, and I've not really watched a lot of his longer form content. I've just seen like his clips on TikTok mostly of him like interviewing people and then people not being able to answer his questions. And I guess my, like, just based off that alone, my take has been that, how do I say this without being a complete asshole? One is I think he wouldn't think of me as an engineer. He would think I'm not a developer and that I'm not a capable developer, because I some of the questions he's asked people, I can't answer them either. So I would be like a shit developer, I think, in his eyes, which is fine. I mean, people can have whatever opinion they want. But to me, it's almost like maybe he gets a little bit of enjoyment or gets some satisfaction from feeling superior to others because he knows more about certain things. Which I guess is, I mean, that's okay. Like, if that's how he wants to spend his time, that's fine. I'm not trying to like take shots at him. I'm just trying to share like my perception of him as a human being based on the myopic view that I have of him. He might be a super kind, really generous, nice person. I've never met him, never had a conversation with him. But yeah, based on those clips I've seen, it seems like maybe he enjoys feeling superior based on what he knows and his accomplishments in his field, and likes to remind people that they're maybe not as good as he is. Yeah, I don't know. Gorgon Black, we are many, we are small, yet have a big effect on the environment. We are workers, medics, warriors. What are we? I have no idea. Random, though. Random. It's a riddle. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer to that riddle is. I'll look into NeoVim after I've gone. Yeah, go for it, man. No rush. You got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I watched Tech Lead at some point. I hate toxic devs. The latest one is Pirate Software Dilemma. Yeah, it's I've heard him talk a lot about the Pirate Software, like analyzing some of the code that Pirate Software has written and sort of shitting on it a little bit. I don't know. I guess it would be like, it's what I imagine. He kind of strikes me as like what I used to deal with in the fitness world, where people thought they were just so superior because they knew more information or could lift more weight or run faster, or like this almost like a superiority complex. But again, maybe I would sit down and have coffee with him and I'd find he's a super kind, humble, intellectually honest human being, and what I'm seeing online of him is just to get views and to grab attention, I don't know. I'm always mindful of that. Like, do I have thoughts and opinions? Yes, but I always try to have the hold in the back of my mind at the same time that I don't know these people honestly, right? Like, I don't really know these people. I just have a perception of what I see of them. I don't like influencers. I want normal people like you. Well, I appreciate that. I try to be normal. I try to just show up. I think I've said this before to you guys. I just try to show up on stream the same way I would show up in real life, right? Like, if all of us were to meet up at a coffee shop with our laptops to work and hang out and drink coffee together, that's how I want to show up here too. I'm going to treat you guys. I want to treat you guys and interact with you guys the same way. So I hope that does come through. Yeah, share what they love. Yeah, exactly. Gorgon, did you see the answer? No, sorry. The answer to the riddle is ants. Nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. The tech industry is vast and impossible to know everything. It's very easy to confuse people, especially when you have prepared the interview in a gotcha way. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I think that's part of the douchebaggery of it, right? Is like you're sort of like manipulating the situation to make yourself seem superior and make you seem above other people just because somebody doesn't use the same words as you or doesn't understand a particular concept as well as you understand. I mean, if I remember right, when I read Coding Jesus's bio, I think he works in like high tech or high finance. He works in technology in like a high finance setting, like high frequency trading type of stuff. So he's obviously working at like a very like low level, highly performance type of place, whereas I'm over here writing like small web apps, you know? So like the experience I'm getting is vastly different from the experience he's getting. So there's no way I'd be able to hold a conversation on things that he works with every day that I've never worked with before, you know? So it's just, yeah, it's not, it's his life. He can live it the way he wants. Unironically, the dunking on pirate software and code run through a white improvements can be, code run through a white improvements can be made by various YouTubers made me want to pivot into more modern programming. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Dude, would love to grab coffee with. There would be 100% be a computer though. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, as there should be. Yeah. I once gave a gotcha interview to a few engineers, and putting devs on a tough spot teaches you a lot if you can evaluate the character. If you just want to feel better about yourself, you are not. Yeah, good. Yes, not a good interview. Yeah. Like I think that makes sense, right? Like, do you want to put people on the spot to see if they're honest? Like, if you ask somebody an esoteric question, do they just try to bullshit their way through it, or do they just admit like, I don't know, I don't have any experience in that, right? Like that, I could definitely see that being a good litmus test. Autocorrect on phone is cooking me. The autocorrect on my Android phone cooks me all the time. Like if you see misspelled words in like my Blue Sky post, it's 100% because I wrote it on my Android phone. Tired of, hey, you finally decided to pick up the Golang book I told you about. Took you long enough, dude. Yeah, I think it was Tired of who mentioned this to me, wasn't it? Way back when. Well, we just got around to starting to really focus on learning Go because Advent of Code is coming up, and I don't want to look like a complete idiot. But yes, I have it. I have it here. Evaluate problem solving, knowing when to ask for help or say you don't know. I've dealt with a lot of people who just won't say they won't know something and wing it and fuck it up. Yeah. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I would much prefer to always be the student, you know. Teach me. I'm ready to learn. I'm coachable, you know. So I know I don't know everything, but I'm willing to learn everything, you know. I don't want to be a know-it-all. I want to be a learn-it-all. I heard somebody say it that way, and it's really stuck with me. Gorgon Black. A competent dev solely dependent on the task, skills, and scale of the project. The problem is like small devs like Pirate Software pretend to be a bigger dev than what they are. I think that's completely valid. I don't know, like again, like I kind of like Pirate Software, so like, but I also understand like Pirate Software can come across a little arrogant, so I totally get it. But yes, I will agree. I to portray their life experience as being more than what it was, or just their work experience being more than what it was. Yeah, that's common. And that's ego, right? That's just ego. That's human. So human. We want to feel like we're important. We want to feel like we have stuff to contribute. And sometimes we inflate ourselves to do it, you know. Learning is fun. If only I applied the same to other people. I think it's just, yeah, that's never a good look. Perfect way to learn. I love learning, sharing what I learn, helping others learn. Inspiring others is one of the best ways to solidify your knowledge once you've gained a decent grasp on it. 100%. Teaching is really, and I think I've said that before, like being able to teach a topic or write about a topic, like being able to communicate to others what you know about something is a great way to reinforce it for yourself. Yeah. There's getting up in front of a stage and saying, here's what I've learned, or here's what I know, and getting up in front of a stage or an audience and being like, I know everything, and this is 100% all you ever need to, you know what I mean? There's like a difference in tone and stylistic approach. Like I want people who are humble and are willing to admit that they don't know everything, but here's the conclusions they've drawn based on the experiences they've had, stuff that they've learned, or things they've tripped over on their way to where they are, right? Yeah, the messenger and the tone of the message are just as important as the message in a lot of cases. Yeah, being humble is... I actually saw this the other day on Blue Sky. One of the engineers I really like to follow online is a guy named... I still haven't logged into my Blue Sky on this browser. His name is Dan Abramov. I think I've talked to you guys about him before. He used to work on the React core team at Meta, and I think then he was at Blue Sky for a little bit, working on the app protocol, and I'm not sure exactly what he's doing now. But he's a very capable engineer, obviously, right? Like, this dude, he knows how to write code. And I saw him make this post. Where was it? Where is it? I reposted it. Maybe it'd be easier if I go to my account. God dang, I post way too much. Here we go. So he posted this this post the other day that was, he basically said, I'm running a Next.js app on Railway behind a Cloudflare proxy. And then he was just very honest and like open to like being educated by other people, right? Like, I've never done backend in my life before. What do I need to know? I mean, stuff like observability, what to do, deployment versioning. Like, he just this ability for somebody who is super advanced in their career and super capable to like not have such a big ego that they can be like, look, I've never had opportunity to do this type of work. Can you please teach me? Right? That's the type of person that like I fuck with. Like, on one hand, like uber competent, uber capable, but still able to put on the student hat when they need to. It's I aspire to be like that, you know. I don't 100%. Yes, of course. Yeah, we're never going to 100% agree with people. I like it when I find people who have sort of, you know, in a lot of ways, these are people that have kind of reached the place in a career where I think a lot of us would like to reach, where they've worked for larger companies and made big contributions to big projects and whatnot. And you would think that people would use that to give themselves an elevated status above others. And it's cool to see somebody be willing to humble themselves still, right? And to be the student. All right, so we try to implement the sum all before the end of the stream. I think we should do that. Let's write a test. Oh, we were actually talking about variadic functions. So this variadic functions take a variable number of arguments. So in C#, this is like the params. Like params, you can do params and take in a variable number of arguments. You can also do this in Python and TypeScript. They kind of have this idea where you can just grab the bag of arguments, right? Whatever was passed to this function or method. So it's not exactly the same idea, but kind of similar. But definitely in C#, the analogous feature in C# to this is params. So let's write the test here real quick. Variadic. Variadic was the how you pronounce it. Variadic. Oh, did I already? I guess I already did this. Yep, I already did that. Okay, function sum all. I'm gonna copy this guy. Okay. So right now we're just returning nil. If we do go test, it should fail, which is correct. Very addict. There you go. Lua also has it. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'd like to spend more time learning Lua. That's definitely a language at some point I'd like to spend more time on. It was fun using it for my NeoVim configs, but I feel like I don't really know it. I just know enough to like put things where they need to be to get my configuration to work. But I'd like to know it a little better. I think it'd be a fun language to learn. I still want to at some point go learn Rust too. Go does not let you use equality operators with slices. You could write a function to iterate over each got and want slice and check their values, but for convenience sake, we can use reflect.deepEquals, which is useful for seeing if any two variables are the same. Oh, okay, so this does like value equality to kind of check. It's important to note that reflect.deepEqual is not type safe. The code will compile even if you did something a bit silly. Oh, that's good to know. From Go 1.21, slices standard package is available, which has slices.equal function to do a simple shallow compare on slices where you don't need to worry about the types like the above case. Oh, so you can't use it for two-dimensional slices. Slices.equal. Huh. Okay. So basically what he's saying is instead of using the reflect deep equality, I could technically do like I could do slices dot and then get rid of the need for this guy. Okay, that's good to know. I'm sure people were begging for that functionality for a long time. Write enough code to make it pass. So we get the length of the numbers, then we make an array that is of type int and is the size of the length of the numbers. And then we iterate over each slice, and then we take the slice, which is this. So this is a slice of slices. So then we take the slice here, and we use the sum function to sum it up. Okay. I think I understand it well enough to copy and paste it, I think. Or I hope. Let's go. Let's delete that. Paste this in. It's interesting, so we're just using, I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with this, right? There's nothing wrong with a public member calling another public member of a package, I'm assuming. Passes, nice. I really do like the range syntax. I really do like this. I like it a lot. I also like the fact that in Go there's just a for loop. I don't have to worry about a for each, a for of, a for in. I don't have to worry about what are the other things you can do? A do while, a while. I really like that they just have kind of built it around a singular construct for iterating. I really do like that. So far, actually, my take on Go is I think it's a good language. There's only one thing that Go does that I think is odd, and that is naked returns with named return values. That seems dumb. I don't know why you would ever do it. It's not really a problem that you can do it, but if you did it, I feel like it would be a problem or like hurt the readability of your code. Okay, we already know about make. Refactor. As I mentioned, slices have a capacity. If you have a slice with a capacity of 2 and try to do my slice 10 equals 1, you'll get a runtime error. Okay. However, you can use the append function, which takes a slice and a new value and then returns a new slice with all the items in it. In this implementation, we are worrying less about capacity. We start with an empty slice and append to it the result of sum as we work through the var args. Our next requirement is to change sumAll to sumAll tails, where it will calculate the totals of the tails of each slice. The tail of a collection is all items in the collection except the first one. Okay. Okay. So first we need to refactor this so that we're using the append function. So here we'd say var sums like this, and then we can get rid of this, and then we use we reassign sums by appending sums to the result of sum. Oh, we don't need I. We can use a discard there. And then we can come over here and do go test again, and it should still pass. Fantastic. Golang is pretty minimal. I like the Chan concept the most. Yeah, channels seem pretty cool. Yeah, for sure they do. What is C# good for? People say you can do anything with it, but what are some real scenarios? Like I know people can use Xamarin to make mobile stuff, but it doesn't seem very popular. Yeah, I don't think C# in any one domain is particularly popular, unless you're talking about websites, APIs, or like backends in general in enterprise settings. I think it's pretty popular there, but like you can use C# to do web development, right? But I don't think C# is as popular in web development as like your Reacts, your Vues, your Sveltes of the world, right? That's where like C# doesn't really have complete ownership of any particular like area of development, I feel like. But it's a nice language because once you know it, right, you can do a lot with it. It gives you access to low-level programming as well as high-level programming. It gives you access, like you said, to mobile development, web development. I guess I can just share like the way I use C# the most. I use C# the most to build CLI tools and REST APIs. Those are the two places where I'm always reaching for C# most of the time. The other place I reach for C# quite a bit is like if I want to do like a POC very quickly, or if I want to build something very quickly, Blazor Server is really nice for doing web development really rapidly with C# because you don't have to worry about a server client architecture. Basically, all the code runs on the server, and you just use some WebSocket connection to pass bits of code or bits of data between the code that's running on the server and some client code, right? So there's just a WebSocket connection that manages all that, but all your code, right? You just kind of have to think about the code you write being on the server, which is nice. I feel like it allows you to iterate really quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure what other concrete examples I could give you. Could you do all the same things with other languages? For sure, right? It isn't to say C# needs to be used to replace other things, right? I just think it's a good option, has good developer experience. It's a fun language to write. it's changing every year. They're adding new features on a yearly release cadence. You can write it. You know, it's definitely an object-oriented programming language first and foremost, but they've been adding things to make it support more functional paradigms. So depending on kind of which way you lean in the object-oriented versus functional war, you can sort of do both things in C#, which is nice. Yeah, how else can I sell you on C#? Yeah, I don't know. TB Toner, only see named returns once in 3 years of Go at work. Just don't use it. It's whack. Yeah, that's been, so that's I haven't like used it, right? And that's the thing, like I'm brand new to Go, TB Toner, and I like initially when I saw it, I was like, wait, where did this variable come from that you're referencing in the body of your function? Oh, wait, that came from the naming of a return parameter? That seems weird. Oh, wait, what's your function returning? Nothing, because there's nothing after your return statement? Oh, no, it's actually implicit returning the named... The implicit returning the name of the thing you declared up above? Yeah, that doesn't seem good. Reflect was fine, but the gotcha was kind of bad. Yeah, I agree with that. Tao, I think Tao finally made it to a live stream. I've been rewatching all your React Router V7 streams over the past week. Oh, nice, thanks, man. Yeah, that was fun. React Router V7 was fun. I didn't keep going on that project. I haven't picked it back up, but React Router seems very cool. Very cool. Remix, the new version of Remix coming seems like it will be cool to check out too. What do I think about Zigbee and Home Assistant? I've not used Zigbee, and I really don't have much of a smart home, so I don't have much thoughts on Home Assistant. C# is very popular for backend. Yeah, that's been, so that would be, yeah, that kind of sums up all the words I said, doesn't it? Let's see, Pablo. If you have the size of the array, you should probably use make like you had before so that you avoid the additional memory allocations needed by append. That's a good point. That is a very good point. Yo, you remember me? I do not, man. I'm sorry. I do not. But if you were here before, good to have you here again. What is this? We've been trying to learn Go. This is the programming language Go. If you're not familiar with it, you can learn more about it at go.dev, I believe, is the website. Go.dev. That's the official documentation. But I've been trying to learn a new programming language for Advent of Code, which is an event that happens each year in December. That's basically like a couple weeks of solving LeetCode style, Christmassy themed, holiday themed problems. Wilo Gamer Pro. What's up, Wilo Gamer Pro? Good to see you. Append works like dynamically allocated lists in C#. Ah, yes. This makes sense. So we should probably avoid the unnecessary allocations, especially if this is in a hot path, right? You can give an initial size and then resize as needed by allocating more memory. Let's see, hackathon. It's not a hackathon. It's just like I don't know what you call them. Puzzles. They're like coding puzzles every day, right? You just do one a day. Hold on, AOC is already starting. Oh no, it's not. I'm just preparing so that on day one of Advent of Code, I don't look like a complete idiot when I sit down and I say, "How do I write a for loop in Go?" So it hasn't started yet, but it will be starting here before long. I mean, it's crazy. We're already almost 7 days into November, you know, the months just fly by. And I spend way too much time when I'm supposed to be learning Go running my mouth. So I think if we look at where we got today, I think I have like 20 more topics. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I love they talk about dependency injection. Oh, I love it. It's my favorite. Let's see, we're going to talk about mocking, currency. Hold on. How many more do I have to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I have 16 lessons to go. So, and I'd really like to, I might, full disclosure, guys, I might work on this a little bit off stream. Because like I'd actually like to get to the point where we're actually doing some like off script, non handheld programming with Go. So it's entirely possible that I might come back one of these days and I've advanced through this list a little bit off stream. But just know this is the thing I'm following is Learn Go with Tess right now. 5 lessons per stream, 3 days, and that's a good way to put it, Pablo. That should be our goal. We should create that should be our goal. 5 lessons per stream, 3 days. Yes, that should be the goal. And then that would put us what, at November 10th? So we'd still have 20 days of the month left to start going exploring a little bit. Because that's my plan. My plan is so we got through Tour of Go, get through Learn Go with Tess, then start doing some old Advent of Code problems, and then build some projects. So that would leave us like 20 days of the month left for kind of getting into like this stuff. Which I think that's a good. I'm so glad Pablo is around. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So we'll say 5 lessons per stream is what we'll aim for from going forward, and I'll just try to keep the chatting. I'll try to like be better about not letting myself get so derailed by the chatting. What is dependency injection? Dependency injection is basically just this idea of like, if you have some code that calls other code, how do you provide your calling code a way to swap out the implementation of that code you're calling, right? Like for example, if your code calls some file system API, right? How do you allow yourself from the outside to pass an alternative implementation in? So you can use dependency injection as a way to say, hey, my code depends on this other piece of code, but I'm gonna, instead of just hard inlining that code into my method or my function, whatever have you, you can allow that to be passed in, right, by the caller, which then allows you to test your code a little easier. Makes testing. To me, testing's the big reason to do it. There's probably some other like, maintainability or extendability reasons to do it, but testing's the one I think about a lot of the time. Look at the lessons ahead of time a bit so that you know how long they'll take before we start chatting. That's a good idea. That I should. What Pablo is suggesting to me in the most polite way, which I appreciate him for doing so, is he's saying, Steven, you should prepare a little bit. Oh, thanks. Yeah, of course. I actually just made a video about dependency injection and testable code on my YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. You don't have to watch it. There's other videos about DI out there, but if you're curious. What's up, Dismal? How are you? Yeah, that's going good. We spent a lot of time talking and not a lot of time writing code this morning, but it's been good. Yeah, we've had a lot of good conversation. You could just have asked, how's it going? See what I did there? Yeah, you're a clever one, Wilo Gamer. What's going on? We've just been hanging out talking about, we've talked about all kinds of stuff. We talked about jobs, interviewing. We talked about, like Pablo was talking about Lua, how it relates to Go as like its more dynamic cousin. Yeah, we've been all over the map this morning, but primarily what we've been trying to do is make our way through this Learn with Go Tess book. Go. Gao, is it going? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it is 7:05, so I think we're gonna do our customary wrap up. Um, yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Cause I got to go upstairs and shower up and get ready for the day. How many of us are here? It's kind of cool to see how many people are at the end of the stream. 26. Let's go. Well, this says 26, but then OBS is 34, so I don't know who to believe. I should probably believe OBS. Okay, housekeeping. End of the day, housekeeping things. First things first, if you want to interact with me or Pablo or anybody in chat that's outside of the stream, you should check out our Discord. We do have a Discord. Stream Elements will drop that in there for you. Crow Demise, I'm glad I caught you at the end of the stream. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I always feel bad when people show up and then I'm like, never mind, I'm leaving. You know, it's just shitty timing. So yeah, so Discord's the best way to interact outside of the stream. As far as my stream schedule goes, I typically try to wake up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, hit the floor, then come down here and start the stream at 4:15. So this is Central Standard Time too. I'm in the Central Standard Time zone. So 4:15 a.m. till about 7 a.m. each morning, sometimes longer on the weekends. Depends on what's going on. So that's the schedule. So Discord schedule. I don't have any big news to share, anything like that, other than we're just going to keep getting ready for Advent of Code. We're going to keep trying to learn Go. Yeah, I think that's it. I saw some messages, so let me catch up real quick before I take off. Steven, maybe I am late here. I got laid off 2 months ago. I had worked there for 4.5 years as a React TypeScript engineer. What should I do now? I know React isn't going to be enough anymore. Any advice? Well, first of all, man, I'd just like to say I'm sorry that you got laid off. That's never a fun experience. And I know being laid off for some time without work can be anxiety producing. It sounds though like you do have a skill set. I mean, it sounds like you have experience and you have skills. My advice to you would be to make job hunting my full-time job. Like I would spend 40 hours or more a week doing one of 3 activities, either interviewing, negotiating offers, or applying or doing some type of outreach to businesses or people who might be able to interview me and potentially hire me, right? So like cold applying, cold calling, going to businesses and walking in, introducing yourself. Basically anything that increases the number of people who know that you are actively looking for a job and what you do for work, the better. And then hopefully trying to convert more of those people to actual interviews and then those interviews to actual offers. But that would be my advice. I mean, it seems like you have a resume. It seems like you have work experience that you can speak to. I don't know if I would spend, if it was me and I was out of work, I don't think I would spend a ton of time trying to like retool my whole entire skill set. I would be trying to market the skills and the experience I currently have so that I can get income coming in again. And then if you think that you need to learn more than just React and TypeScript, then I would spend that time doing that. But when you're laid off and you need money, like the first things first, right? It's like you got to put your oxygen mask on first, which is the most important, is to like get a gig that brings in income again. That would be how I would think about it as a husband and a father, and I have people counting on me. If I got laid off, that's where my head would immediately go, is like, how quickly can I go from 0 income to some income? Let's see. Should I learn Go? I mean, you can learn Go, man, but I just don't think that's your concern right now. Let's see. I don't want to make sure I don't want to leave any of you hanging. I do not watch I don't watch much anime. People have recommended a bunch of anime to me, and I just haven't gotten around to watching it. Let's see. Oh Lord. Okay. All right. I think I caught up with everybody. All right, guys. I'm gonna jump. Thank you so much, all of you, for hanging out with me, keep me company all the way up to the end of the stream. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll be back tomorrow. All right. Bye, Pablo. Bye, Crow of Demise. Bye, Raphael. Bye, B. Hurrah. Bye, Crow Demise. Who else is in here recently? I think that's everybody. And anybody else that's still here, chat, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. If it's Thursday for you, if it's Friday for you, have a great rest of your Friday. Tao, see you later, Tao. Thanks for being a member, man. Appreciate you. And if I don't see you tomorrow, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Bye, chat. Bye. See y'all. Appreciate you guys.